Hello and welcome to our first inaugural episode of Joe's Knows Baseball. I'm here with Will Kakowski and myself, Jack Kemler, and we're just going to go through the free agency. Today's been a crazy day, biggest day of the offseason. So we're going to start on Friday night. My New York Mets lost out on probably the best pitcher in baseball if he's fully healthy, Jacob deGrom. Will, what do you have on Jacob deGrom going to the Rangers?
Yeah, well, I heard people, talking about DeGrom going to the Rangers. Never really thought too much about it, really, until it kind of shocked the world. I would say that, you know, I feel like it kind of unexpectedly signed, and everybody's kind of like upset, like, oh, why did the Mets not go out? And the truth is, it's hard to battle with the salary tax over there in Texas. He's getting straight up 42 mil? Like he's getting paid straight up, and that's hard to battle with, even with Steve Cohen. But a great addition to the Rangers. But outside of him, their pitching staff still looks very weak. I'm excited to see what they could do, but I don't think this is really going to be a big playoff push signing. I don't think this is making them a championship caliber team. I think it's just a bolsters their rotation, makes them a lot better than they were last year.
Yeah, and me and Will, we're talking about Rangers rotation, saying it's not great, but we're big haters of Martin Perez. We think he's an ERA merchant. He's not that good. You look really into his advanced stats, which we're going to talk about a lot on this show. It's not the greatest. And John Gray, he's like, I don't know. He's just very weird of a pitcher and not consistent at all. But for me
Yeah,
as a DeGrom Mets fan, I loved him my whole life. It's so sad to see him go. Deep down it hurts, but I just feel like it had to happen. 5 years, last 2 years, he's been battling very serious injuries, so close to Tommy John, and it just feels like it had to happen. I so sad. Like it's not like I'm happy for him to leave, but it had to happen, and I just hope we can use that money on players like Alonso and McNeil. You know,
yeah.
so oh, you
Real quick. I do want to go back to what you said about the Rangers rotation. I mean, John Gray, last year he came from Colorado, which is just historically a terrible place for a pitcher because of the elevation in Coors Field. I thought that John Gray had a chance to reinstate his career, and it looked promising at the start, but he just fell off. Another not good season from him. And as you said, Martin Perez, I feel like we need to talk about him early. He had a really good ERA, but nothing else looked good. He kept the ball on the ground well, but with Corey Seager, and he had Corey Seager and Marcus Semien backing up in the infield. It's not much is getting through, but I feel like a lot, in a weird way, he got very lucky this season. So yeah, Rangers rotation still not looking good. And before we move on, I think the Mets actually ended up winning. You'll see why later, but I think it was a good move. As you said, he's got so close to Tommy John, and his elbow's just messed up. Like, it's for the long run, 5 years. I don't think there's a chance that he doesn't get hurt. Like, he's destined to have something take him out for more than like 60 days.
Yeah, Jane Hunter put up there. He's heartbroken. I know Guac's a Mets fan. I know Friedman's a Mets fan. It's a hard time, but Steve Cohen, what a great owner is he? He started off the free agency with getting Justin Verlander. I think it was 2 years, 86 million. It's a 43 million AAV, second highest tied or whatever with Scherzer. Well, what do we think about this?
It's crazy. Like, that's a lot of money, yes, but it's worth it. Like, he's a real stud. He's really, last year. I have this all written up. I wrote some, a couple weeks ago about Verlander, and this guy is just a stud. Like, he basically came back, and no one expected him to be anything, and then put on a credible season, and everybody's like, oh my goodness, like, Justin Verlander is back. But if you really look back at it, this is just an average Justin Verlander season. Like, he truly is one of the best pitchers we've seen in the past long time. And I honestly do think that this is better than having DeGrom. He's fully healthy. It's crazy. And not many people are going to say, a lot of people, mainly Yankee fans, who have been just, I don't know why they're saying this, because they've been bullied by Justin Verlander. They're all saying he's overpaid. Like, he's paid fine. Like, you got to pay the big money for big starters. He is so good. Yeah, and as Jock says, Cy Young coming, it can happen. I mean, he's so good. His mechanics looked so amazing this year. He looked very sharp and on point. And I get it, not great performance in the postseason. It happens. I mean, they still get the ring, so what can you blame him? But I expect him to come back and just keep on dominating. Yes, he's 40, but he's kind of like Tom Brady. Age is not going to bother him.
Yeah, you can say he ages like fine wine, like people want to say, and he's coming off his Tommy John season, and you thought maybe you don't know what's going to happen out of that 40-year-old man with Tommy John, and it's one of his best seasons outside of the MVP season. I mean, just look at these stats. Chadwick, put it up, please. Thank you. It's a 1.75 ERA. His K9 amazing. The WAR was up amazing. I mean, just anything you see from there, Will, that you're impressed by?
Yeah, there's actually one thing I saw. It's not there. You got to look a little deeper, but basically he changed up something. He went this is a little advanced, but he went first pitch curveball. I think it was 15% more than he did last year, and not last year in 2019, the last time he pitched and pitched well. And that was a big adjustment. He instead of starting off fastball, he's able to land that curveball for strikes also more, which was an improvement to his game. And all that really just came along with him being able to tunnel his pitches better, tunneling basically the ability to throw the fastball and the curveball and make it look the same. And he did that to perfection this year. And that's why I think him at an old age was still able to deceive the hitters. I mean, he just changed his approach, and I think it worked for the best. I mean, we could all see this was a historical season he put up. I mean, amazing numbers. Like he's a real stud, and I don't see it changing. I think he's going to be another star with the Mets, and I think this is a better pickup than if they signed DeGrom.
I mean, I totally agree, especially if his innings are low. I mean, if we can get 170 innings again out of Verlander and get even more from Scherzer, this team could look very good at the top of that rotation. Next, we're going to move on to Trey Turner. Went to Philly. Of course, I'm a Mets fan, and I hate that because he just left the Nationals. Now he's already back in the division. Anything big from that, Will?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did write down a little earlier. I had a feeling he was going to Philly. I feel like a lot of people had a feeling he was going to Philly. They knew that over there, Dave Dombrowski, the GM, he was going to make a big move eventually and try to sign a shortstop. I mean, I love this move for $27 million a year for 11 years. I mean, that's a long-term contract on a big-name player. He didn't play that well this year. Well, to his standards, he didn't play that well. He had kind of a down year, but I do expect a bounce back. I mean, this guy was talked about as the best shortstop in baseball, and I do think that's truly what he is. I mean, he's the most five-tool player you can ask for. One of the fastest players in the league, one of the best base stealers, a pretty good fielder. I mean, he doesn't excel in it, but he plays the shortstop position well. And I mean, he'll hit for power, he'll hit for average. So I mean, we're gonna run a quick little his stat line. So Jack, what do you got for his stats?
First stats, I'm looking from big jump from last year actually because I think his high whiff, his chase rate, his K percentage was just way too high for him. It's his first really like season like that, and Trey Turner's too smart for that. He was trying to play big up to Los Angeles, and I think he's going to settle down. And he's going to go hit for 319 average. He's going to get on base of 362. He's going to slug 478, and his weighted on base will be 367.
Oh, all right, that's actually a pretty good way to start. We have the same weighted on base average.
Oh, we do.
But all right, well, let's take a quick step back. Weighted on base average, also WOBA.
Yeah.
It's an advanced stat if you don't know. Basically, it takes all the outcomes of a hitter. So a walk, a single, a double, a triple, home run, and it basically weights it. So, you can have a more defined look at how the player played. So, they had more doubles. It's gonna be a higher statistic, and it's a good way to, go deeper into the player stats. So that's what WOBA is. And for my line, I had him, 306 average. I had him going a different way. moving as you said in LA, you got to live up to that LA hype. I don't think he was really able to do that as much as we expected. But in Philly, I think they're gonna love him. I mean, Philly is everybody says it's such a hard city to play in, but we saw this postseason how they were just able to kind of almost carry their team in a way. There's such a open arm team. They will bring Trey Turner in and they will make him a great player. So I have him 306 average. I had slugging at 537. I think this is going to be a big year for him with a power. It's been waiting to show, and I think it's going to come out slight lower on base percentage. I've met 353. As you said, with the whiff rate, it's all been trending down since he peaked in Washington. So I'm going to keep the trend. It's going to go up slight from last year, but not much. So that's how we're going to roll for Trey Turner.
Yeah, and you talk about like the Phillies in this edition. I mean, Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos, Rhys Hoskins, all guys who bat like 240 and under and then get high homers. They really needed this average guy in that lineup, especially in the top of the order. I mean, me personally, I think Trey Turner is the best shortstop in baseball. I think a guy who hits for 300 every year and runs the bases like he does. Yes, his fielding was bad last season. I don't expect him to do it like that, how he fielded last season. I think he will do better. But I'd rather a guy be hitting 20 homers and 300 average than 40, 45 homers and 240 average like Schwarber and Castellanos. So that fit is going to be very, very good. And then we'll move on to the next guy who got signed. I think it was the first acquisition of the offseason. Edwin Diaz, back to the Mets, 5 years, $102 million, biggest reliever deal of all time. What do you think about this, Will?
Well, I think it's the biggest reliever deal of all time, mainly because he's the only reliever, that's getting paid right now. And I mean, we got to talk about the season he just had, just ridiculous numbers. I mean, as Chadwick, our host, said, he's the trumpet man. And I feel like a lot of people might know him as the trumpet man, which is not the best thing to be known as. But we all saw how he changed that Mets team. I mean, he brought a fire to them. And I mean, if they didn't bring him back, yeah, there you go, trumpet time. I mean, he brought a different energy, a different flair to that team. And a lot of the time, you heard that song play in the ninth inning, you knew it was shutdown time. And I mean, to have a reliever or a closer like that is just so. It's not really imperative, but I mean, it's so game changing. I think he deserved every dollar of it.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Chad, can we go to this Phillies question? I can read it out. It's fine. Does this make Philly? Yeah, does this make Philly a better team than the Mets or the Braves? I mean, it's such a close division we're talking about right now. I mean, of course, with Trey Turner, the addition, and it helps so much in that lineup, and the team's just getting better with Stott and Bohm in the bottom. I think the Braves are better. We'll see between the Mets and the Phillies. The Mets played way better last year than the Phillies did. So I think we have to wait, see how the offseason fully plays out for the Mets. But right now, I think I could back Philly over the Mets. So we're going to move on to Jose Abreu, the last acquisition that's been made yet. He got signed for 6 years. 6 years. Oh, sorry. Yeah, 6 years, $68 million to the Astros. They might lose Mancini. What do you think about this at the DH?
Give me a second. I gotta fact check you real quick. I gotta fact check the contract. It was 3 years, $58 million.
All right. Well, I don't know how
you missed it by like $10 million.
Yeah, mine missed it by like 3 years, but it's okay.
All right. I would have liked that contract if it was $10 million a year. I mean, Jose Abreu, he's been like weirdly underrated in a way for the past couple of years. I feel like you can't properly rate this dude. You're either going to get a guy who's calling the best first base in the league last year, and you're just like, what are you talking about? And then he was underrated. If you don't talk about him, he's underrated. But with all that aside, I hate this contract. This guy's old. This guy's like decaying. His stats are falling apart. I mean, I guess it's better than Mancini, yes, but how much better than Mancini? Like, we just started seeing like Mancini like pop off at the end of the year, and they're gonna let him go for a guy they're gonna pay $20 million a year for. I feel like they could have done so much better with their money. I don't really like this. I mean, I think last year's the last good Jose Abreu season we're gonna get. I think he's not Nelson Cruz, and if he is, he's Nelson Cruz from this year. I feel like his career's kind of over. And 3 years, 20 million. I mean, you're putting yourself in some bad debt. I mean, the Astros are still going to be extremely competitive. Like, don't get me wrong, they still have one of the best teams going to next year. They just won the World Series, but to kick off the offseason by signing Jose Abreu, I don't think you could have done it any worse.
Yeah, and you look at the stats of Jose Abreu, you're right. Last year was his best season in a while. Played 157 games. His K percentage was down 5% than any other year. So if he can keep that up, it might be good for Houston, but we don't see a guy who's turning 36 next year just staying like that. So Jock's question is predictions on Kodai Senga and where he's going. See, this one is so hard because he's coming from Japan, and like, how are you supposed to know who he likes and who the suitors for him are? It's like Seiya Suzuki last year. Like, we had no idea. He was like rumored to every team. So any top suitors for you, Will?
Yeah, well, the Red Sox, they're looking at him. Probably not going to sign him because if he's more than $1 million, then Chaim Bloom's not making a move.
Yeah.
The Giants looking at him. I think that this is my take. If the Giants lose Rodon, which most likely is going to happen, I think they're going to go out and get Kodai Senga. I think that's how you say his name. But as you said last year, it's hard to tell because I remember like trying to keep up on the Seiya Suzuki where he was going to go. I remember looking up. It's like all 32 teams were interested in him. Like, no one knows what this guy could do. Everybody's like, "Oh, is he going to be the next Shohei Ohtani?" Not the pitching and hitting, but the Japanese like stud. And I mean, all 32 teams can be like talking about this guy. It's really like everybody wants him. He can be the best pitcher of all time, or he can be nothing. We'll never really know until he comes and plays the MLB. So it really could be anybody. But if they lose Rodon, I'm pretty sure the Giants are going to try to snag him.
Yeah, we'll get into the last question here before the free agency predictions between us. Who is the best shortstop left on the free agency market? Me personally, after the last season, and it's a bit biased, but I'll go with Carlos Correa. I think, well, instead of Trey Turner, of course, but I think it's a two-man show between him and Swanson. But Correa's just been doing it longer, and Swanson, lower batting average, basically lower everything. I think Correa is just going to go out wherever he goes and just ball out. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, if you asked me this question like 4 hours ago, I would have told you Swanson without a doubt. I feel like, we talked about this. Minnesota, no one really cares about the Twins. It's Minnesota. They're in the middle of nowhere, and no one watches their games. So I kind of try to know as much about the MLB as possible. Did not really pay attention at all to Carlos Correa this year, and I kind of thought he was a bust until I looked at his numbers. I mean, just a ridiculous season again, even with the slow start he had at the start of the season. But we'll get into what we think he's going to do. But I do think that he has the edge over Swanson. And also, again, the Bogarts. But I don't think he has a chance against these two shortstops.
Yeah, so we will start the free agency predictions. We'll start with who everybody's thinking about. Where is this guy going to go? The reigning AL MVP, it's Aaron Judge. Chadwick, can you please pull up the stats so we can just look at this MVP season, because it is actually ridiculous. I mean, you just look at the first, like 207 WRC plus, 11.4 WAR. We're looking at wins above replacement. WRC plus is weighted runs created. Huge stat I like. And Will loves WAR, 11.4. What stands out most to you from this 2022 season?
I mean, everything. He's so good. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I don't even think it's the stats that stand out. It's the next guy. Like, no one is near what he did this season.
Yeah.
And as a Red Sox fan, I think you got to get out of the way. I'm a Red Sox fan. I think it's important to know because some takes, will be biased, but I hated watching this guy and what he did for the Yankees offense. I don't think the Yankees offense was really that good this year. I mean, yeah, they had some sparks of amazingness, at the start of the season. But when they started to sputter off, it was just Aaron Judge. It was just Aaron Judge, and he really, really did a great job. I mean, amazing season. But if I had to look at something, I mean, the WOBA, 458.
Gosh, that's
I think
just
the best way to describe WOBA is if you're like, 340, 350, you're above average-ish, you're average to above average, 370, you're probably in the top 25 of the hitters. 400, you're like the top 5 hitter. 485? I mean,
yeah,
that's just insanity. We probably won't see that like for a long time.
I
And
mean, yeah, and you want to talk about the WRC plus as well on average. Like the average of WRC plus is 100.
yeah, that's a league average.
If
Like
you put up
that's league
200,
average.
if you put up 200, it's historic. Jordan was putting it up for like the first 6 months, but he couldn't stay up with Judge. I mean, 207
No.
is unreal.
I mean, the thing is, as Jack said, WRC plus, it's the league average is 100, and the plus basically means it's based off of what the rest of the league does. So in long story short, Aaron Judge was 107 times better than the average hitter.
Yeah. So
That's just like in that stat, at least that's just ridiculous. I mean, you can go, but that's just crazy.
yeah, so we'll start with our top suitors. Who are your top suitors for Judge? I got San Fran and New York Yankees. I think it's easy. Right?
It's just San Fran in New York. I mean, there's other teams talking to him. The Red Sox talking to him. They're not going to give the money. I mean, everybody wants Judge, but it's really the only two suitors is San Francisco and the Yankees. And I love Jock's comment. I mean, the Yankees collapse. It's bound to happen when you go out and shell out garbage contracts to what is it?
Anthony Rizzo.
Anthony Rizzo, Stanton, sticky stuff guy. I mean, that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get a collapse. I'm sorry, but it's gonna happen. He's going to San Fran.
Yeah, I mean, that's my prediction as well. I think San Fran, my prediction, 8 years, $325 million, an AAV of $40 million. I think they go all the way. They give him the 40 mil. They have to convince him because I don't know if he's fully torn between the two. You saw a video of him going to San Francisco earlier in their offseason. He winked at the camera. He said, "I'm meeting family," and then winked. At the All-Star game, he said, "I don't know, Yankee fans, don't get your hopes up," or something like that. Don't want to fully quote him. But, I mean, I just don't see a chance. I see like a 20% chance he goes back to the Yankees.
I mean, yeah, I think 20 to 25 is a legit reason. A lot of Yankee fans will tell you tell you differently, but they're just holding on to something that probably is not coming back. They want him to come back. Real quick, I just want to get to Jock's comment about the 75 games is Judge. They're going to win 75 games. The Yankees, I mean, they still have like a good roster, but I don't think he means that much to them. I think they'll win 75. I think they'll probably win like up to 85. But do we expect a fall off? I mean, I do expect a major fall off when losing Judge. And I mean, Jack, if you want to go into the stats, Judge, the predicted stats that we think he's going to put up in, I guess, San Fran.
Yeah, well, yeah, we both have him at San Fran, so it's different to the ballpark for us. I think what you're talking about with wins, they're going to drop at least 10 to 15 wins. I mean, he had, 8 walk-offs? Something like 8 to 10 walk-offs. He led that team to so many wins.
Ridiculous.
It's funny what he did last season.
It's the wins above replacement right there. He's 11 wins better than the average player. So you're right there. You're already losing 11. Yeah. And then whatever else he did with his miraculous walk-offs. I mean, let's just this is where he loses all. This is where the Yankees lose a lot of wins. His on-base percentage was like 450 last year.
425.
425. People just walked him. I mean, and you know what? You lose a guy on base 42.5% of the time. Like, whoever you get is not going to fill his shoes. Like, I don't care. You're not going to be able to fill his shoes. And I'm telling you, the Yankees are going to go out and they're going to go pay some dude $30 million to be a bum. And I can't wait to watch this Yankee franchise fall apart. I hated last year. I hated every minute of it for 2 reasons, okay? But I can't wait to watch him fall apart, and I think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, you talk about falling apart, but that second half was horrible. I mean,
It was miserable.
they came into the postseason as one of the coldest teams in all of baseball. I mean, instead of the Mets, then we'll see what they do next season if Judge isn't there. But my predictions, I think he drops his average incredibly from
Yeah,
311 to 276. I give him on base percentage dropping also incredibly 359, and then his slugging is still up. It's still Aaron Judge. I'm going to give him a 550 um, um, slugging, and then I'll give him a WOBA of 371. But I do think there's just going to be less homers. 62 is that's not happening again. It's going to be between 40 and 45 in my opinion.
yeah, and another story. Let me get my stats out of the way, and I'll tell you why the homers are going to go down. 282 average. Yeah, that's a big fall off from 311. 6 off of what you had. You had more of a fall off. I mean, Judge is still Judge. You can't take anything away from him. Like, you go back to the advanced stats. He's led the league in average exit velocity, hard hit percentage, and barrel percentage the past 2 years. He's hit the ball super hard consistently for the past 2 years. So I still expect a lot from him. But the on base percentage, people are gonna like right off the bat, they're gonna be a little scared of him. But once they realize, he's not the threat he was last year, they're gonna stop pitching around him. I bet you they're gonna find a way to pitch this guy. I'm gonna go with a 370 on base percentage. I mean, I don't expect much, but I'm not gonna take everything away from him. My slugging's gonna fall off even more, 540. I mean, as Jack said, less home runs because you can't repeat 62. I'm saying less home runs because McCovey Cove, that wall, that right field wall in San Francisco, it's got to be like 40 feet back from the Yankees Stadium wall.
Yeah, and Aaron Judge's exit velocity is rather low. His not his exit velocity, his launch angle is rather low, and he was putting the balls barely over on a launch angle. It's going like this. With Giant Stadium, that wall is very high, and it's just going to be hitting the wall. That's what it'll do if he stays like that. But you don't know if he's going to keep going the other way because he only went the other way because it's Yankee Stadium. That right field is so short. If he changes his game and he tries to do that, go to left field because Giants left field is fairly close, we might see even more of a drop off because that is one of the hardest things to do, to change your whole approach in one.
Yeah, that's the thing. As a baseball fan, you look at it like, oh well, a lot of his home runs were hit to left field, but he did have a good amount to right. I would say probably like 40 of his home runs were to left, 20 to right. And you're so he's just gonna hit more home runs to left because it's shorter. He's gonna try and change. If he tries to change what he's doing, he's gonna find. This is where guys moving stadiums find a lot of trouble. You're going to New City. You're going to San Francisco. That's a pretty big city. You're in a big division where you're the Giants. You're fighting with the Padres and the Dodgers it's a lot. It's a high stress environment over there. If your mentality of let's pull everything doesn't work right off the bat, you have about 2 months of you not hitting well. And for Aaron Judge, you're getting paid $40 million. You're going to get bashed by the MLB community. So it's going to be a hard transition for Judge. Like, I know he's amazing, but it's just the whole story. I mean, it's not easy.
Yeah, in my opinion, I mean, that right field, it is fairly close, but it's just so tall. And if he's thinking about changing his approach and going to left field more, I don't think he should. I think he should just keep hitting doubles, maybe get triples out of them, because it's just going to keep hitting that wall, what we think at least. And one more thing I want to talk about Judge is he will get the mega deal. He will get $300 million probably. We've seen players like Harper and Francisco Lindor get these mega deals and not play well their first season. Do you think it's going to happen to Judge as well? And why we think he's going to be so bad?
Can you repeat the question real quick?
Sorry. I mean, we think he's so bad. So, you think one of the main reasons that he's going to get the mega deal?
What are the main reasons?
Yeah.
I mean, because he's just put up one of the most historic baseball seasons.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the thing. That's kind of it. because you can't really predict that he's going to do bad. I mean, a lot of guys try to do that, but in the long run, these GMs are still going to pay him for what they did. Like, that's the thing. And we can't forget one last thing to bring to the table on why Judge's fall off is coming is he did this MVP season because he wanted to get paid. Like, I mean, he didn't do it. Like, he didn't like plan it out, but this was all like, we all knew this was kind of like a revenge tour, not a revenge, but he wanted the money, so he kind of balled out for the money. Now that he has it, I don't think that we're gonna see 62 home runs. I mean, for sure we're not. I mean, if next year we did, I don't know what to say, but I mean, I think they're still gonna pay him because what he did.
Yeah, and Guac's question here is Judge. We're talking about major regression in San Francisco, but the years after, I mean, will he continue this dominance?
I think continued dominance is hard to say with Judge, but I think he's gonna have a slower year. He might take a step back, but I think he will continue to slightly progress. I mean, he's still a monster, but one thing you can't forget is he's 6'7". I mean, are injuries ever gonna be a factor for this guy? Like, he had injuries early in his career. I don't know, a guy that big, can you play for 40 years or till you're 40?
Yeah, that's definitely what the deal is going to get. He's definitely going to get to, that 38, 39 range. So we'll move on to the next guy. We'll go to Carlos Rodon, same team, San Francisco Giants. Doesn't sound like he's going to go there. Personally, my suitors, the thing with this guy right now is that he's not getting that many reports, and there's a lot of teams that want him. But I just think the top 4 suitors is to my Mets, to the Rangers, to the Giants, back to the Giants, and to the Phillies. What are you guys, your suitors?
I'll just throw the Yankees on top of that because the Yankees they've been pretty invested in him. I was shaking my head because I don't think the Mets. Steve Cohen. I don't think they can pay Rodon. How much money does Steve Cohen have? He's gonna be like the IRS is gonna be like hunting him down if he gets Rodon. That's crazy. That's gonna be like the Braves when they had like the 3 greatest pitchers of their generation on the same team.
Yeah.
Like, that's Rodon. I mean, look. I saw a little thing saying the Yankees don't get Rodon. Like, it's Rodon or bust. Like, if they don't get Rodon, their season's over. I don't think the Giants are gonna get him. I have him going to the Yankees because really, like, what else did they have to lose?
Really? What? I mean, the thing with the Yankees is that I just don't think they'll ever accept a rebuild because the Bronx will despise it. It will be literal depression in that city if they go through a rebuild. They cannot. They always have to keep paying these players, and it could definitely happen. So, me personally, you haven't gone to the Yankees?
Yeah, I do.
What's the deal?
It's gonna be 6 years, 30 mil. I mean, I don't think they. Honestly, I gotta change it up. I'm gonna go 7 years, 7 years, 29 mil. Go down 1 mil in the year, but the Yankees, they're kings of giving long-term contracts. They just always fail with that. I hate to say it, but they're not good with contracts, so they're gonna end up giving a really long-term contract. And it's gonna be a good contract. But like last 2 years, he's gonna be a bum.
Yeah, I haven't gone to the Phillies. I just think Dave Dombrowski doesn't stop. He does not
He won't.
stop. And
I mean,
he
won't
saw
stop.
he saw that they were this close. You add Wheeler and Nola, and then you add Rodon. I mean, that would be the craziest rotation probably in MLB, even though I'm not a big Rangers sports fan. Talk about the greatest rotations in MLB. Since Guac loves Rodon so much and he thinks he's a Met, I think it could happen, but because you can never say no to Steve Cohen. You can never. Will's
No,
right.
I know. I'm not even laughing at that. Like, is the
Oh,
yeah,
you don't love
is it
Bronx
the best
grammar.
rotation? I mean, what rotation stands a chance?
Yeah, I don't.
These are like 3 top 10 pitchers. I mean,
You
Rodon
also
is.
had Tyler McGill, who had a great start to the season, but then battled injuries. Whoa, you don't like Tyler McGill?
He's a bum.
Oh,
No,
come on.
he's good. It's just can he do it again? He's just like he's a little bit of like the Mets when they had Zach Wheeler. Like
That's a good comparison.
It is. I
let's
mean,
just not trade him.
it's a long shot, but I see it. I see it happening. I just feel like you could have said like you know, uh,
William Carrasco, but I'm not a big Carrasco
Carrasco,
fan.
and I mean Carrasco's a
And we have David Peterson, who's never really had his chance, never really pitched a full season. He's always been in and out of the bullpen, but it sounds like the Mets want to give him a full season. They want to try this guy out because we really never have lefties, and we should try some out.
well, Rodon's a lefty.
Yeah, let's talk about. Or do you have any predictions for Rodon and what he's going to do next season?
Yeah, well, I mean, I love Rodon. I love him a lot. I think he's probably the best strikeout pitcher in the game behind Sticky Stuff guy. I mean, he's a cheater, so that really doesn't matter. But could we go back to his start with the Giants this year? I mean, a crazy hot start. He slowed down a little bit after the All-Star break, which isn't great. I really just think it's like I think the hardest division to play in has to be the NL West because it's like a non-stop battle. You're also going against like a ton of the best bats.
Wait. It just processed in my mind. Wait, so you think the NL West is better than the NL East?
I don't think it's better. I think it's the hardest division to play in.
Oh, okay, yes. Because it's definitely the most competitive because the Giants, Padres, and Dodgers are always fighting. They're always fighting.
Yeah, I think the NL East is definitely. I know Guac. I could probably go to the comments. He's probably raging about this. He's saying the NL East is the best division. Yeah, it is. Okay, especially with the Trey Turner and JV edition, it's good. But real quick, Rodon, I have him. His hard hit percentage. So that's basically hard hit. A hard hit is 95 miles per hour or more. That dropped 38%. That's a big margin. That's what really stood out to me out of all the things. So I'm gonna have to go with he's gonna have a 2.91 ERA, a 108 WHIP, and his K rate has been slightly declining for a long time. I'm going with the 32.1. That's still ridiculous. Not much of a drop off. I think Carlos Rodon has a shot to be a top 5 pitcher in the league. I see so much out of this guy. I mean, he's amazing. I see a lot out of him. So I expect a lot, but I think slight decline.
Yeah, so let's move on to the first shortstop of the free agency that has not gone yet, and that's Dansby Swanson. He was the first overall pick. He's been with the Braves his whole career. My top suitors for him, I got 3 teams. I have him back to the Braves. I have him at Chicago Cubs and Los Angeles Dodgers. Who do you have?
Yeah, well, I mean, same thing, except I don't even have the Braves. I think the Braves have almost let him go at this point.
Really?
They're doing they're doing what the Red Sox are doing. They're lowballing him like crazy. I mean, they're lowballing a guy who's being lowballed by everybody else. This guy is I think he's really good. I really, really like Dansby Swanson. I really like the year he put up. I mean, I have him going either the Dodgers or the Cubs. I think personally, Trey Turner being gone, the Dodgers are going to go get a shortstop. It's just what they do. I think the Dodgers are going to go get Bogarts, and the Cubs are going to get Swanson.
Yeah, I have Cubs Swanson as well. I have him at it is 7 years, $168 million, $24 million AAV. That's about the Semien deal, which him and Semien are kind of like the same players if you really look into it. And $3 million less than Turner, which makes sense. Their gap, and of course Trey Turner got a longer deal, so it's going to be different. But what's your deal on him?
I have him $23 million a year. I mean, he's young, so he's probably going to get like 7 or 8 years. I mean, someone's going to give him long term. It's due. That he gets a long term deal. I think he could get $25 million, and I think it'd be slightly, on the line with being overpaid. But this guy's a stud. I mean, he put up the best defensive shortstop season this year. Slightly aided by the fact that he played all 162 games. So, if you look at his outs above average, of course it's going to be higher than some other guys because he had more chances. But with those more chances, he delivered. With my stats, my prediction for him, I'm going to go with 266 average, a 457 slugging. I have him going up in slugging because, I just think he's going to go up in slugging. And then a little funny thing I did, if he goes to the Dodgers, he's going to have a 341 on base percentage. If he goes to the Cubs, 331. The Dodgers led the league this year in on base percentage. I feel like I don't know if they preach it or if they just got so many good guys on their team,
Yeah.
but I just think I just feel I feel personally that if he goes to the Cubs, he's gonna be like, batting average, slugging. He's gonna hit hard because he's gonna go to the Cubs and he's gonna be like the main guy. He's gonna take over that team. If he goes to the Dodgers,
Yeah,
he's
he will
still
be the
like
leader.
he'll be the leader. If he goes to the Dodgers, he's still the little guy. Kind of like how he was sort of on the Braves. He got a little bit more love over there, but
But
I think
of course, you have Acuna, you had Freeman for
yeah,
all
you had
those years.
Acuna, you had Freeman. He's gonna go back and play with Freeman. I would love to see him play with
That's
Freeman.
cool.
I mean,
Yeah.
that would be awesome. But I feel like if he goes to the Dodgers, he's gonna play. He's gonna try to keep with himself. He's gonna rack up the walks a little bit more. Not sell out for power like some guys are doing now. But we'll see what we see. I have him at 360 WOBA.
Yeah, 2021 World Series. Who ended that World Series? Swanson to Freeman. You could see that with the Dodgers in 2023. I mean, they could always do it. They're always the team. They're always the favorites. Dansby to Chicago. That we agree. They are gonna be contenders in a couple of years. I like contenders. I mean, their farm systems. They have Pete Crow Armstrong. That guy's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, Pete Crow Armstrong.
You can speak on the farm system a lot more, but I just want to talk about how
My God.
underrated that middle infield would be between Swanson and one of the most underrated guys in the MLB, Nico Horner. You talk about Lindor and McNeil, then like Bogart's story and all these, middle infields getting talking about. That would be crazy, Swanson and Horner.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up. I mean, I don't got the stats in the tip of my finger right now, but Nico Horner is definitely probably one of the most underrated players in baseball. I mean, posted I think it was a 4.1 F WAR, so it's Fangraphs WAR. That's higher than a lot of your favorite shortstops. He's good. He's really, really, really good. I mean, he gets on base a lot. He doesn't have the superpower, but I'm telling you, he's a great fielder. I mean, that duo, I don't think a ball gets by them. I mean, that's a really, really good duo. I would love that middle infield. I mean, they got Frank Schwindel, who young first baseman. I mean, horrible year last year coming off. I mean, he pulled a Bobby Dahlbeck like to the max. Like great first month of his rookie career, and then just blows it next year. He had so much. I think he's still a good player, still has a chance to go back. They also have Patrick Wisdom, who he's all right. I mean, he'll strike out 350 times.
Yeah, he might turn into Baez, but
he might. He's turning into Baez. He's gonna have a lot of strikeouts. I mean, do they keep Happ? I mean, the thing is, the Cubs could really go all in this offseason.
I love Happ. He was an all-star,
I love
right?
Happ.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He was the all-star for that team. He bats are crazy average. He is a huge part of that outfield, which is we talk about infield, but their outfield doesn't look the greatest. And I didn't talk about my stats for Swanson. I literally have like the same thing for Will, except I have his average at 281. I just think he's been improving every season. And like you look in the advanced stats, nothing really like, we call fraudulent about it. Like you look at like a guy like Jeff McNeil stats, but that's just how it's like nothing that shows you that regression is coming from Dansby Swanson. It looks like he's getting better every year. So it goes up in average. Then we want to move on to the next guy. We'll move on to Carlos Correa. I mean, he went to the Twins. I think it was a 3-year deal, the option every year, which was very weird. Everybody's like, that's weird. Why would it be an option after every year? And I guess he just hated it. He hated the Twins.
This is why. This is why there's an option every year. The GM didn't put the option every year thing in. Carlos Correa is a little petty. Like you look at him, he's a little petty. I mean, not like it's historically those the Dominican players play with a little swagger. They play with a little fire, and that fire is showing off in this deal. Like he knows he's a man, and he didn't want to do it in Minnesota. I think I guess scroll over my predictions, but all right.
For the top suitors, I got Dodgers, I have Cubs, and I have Yankees.
Oh yeah, I think that's the same. I think the Dodgers are going to end up getting him. And let me just say, if the Dodgers get Carlos Correa, whatever I have for my stats is going to go up by like just 10% because Carlos Correa, on a championship team is a lot better than Carlos Correa on a not championship team. It's just the type of player he is. It's just the type of fire he has. I mean, I hate it so much, but when he ended the Red Sox season basically 2 years ago, tapping the watch, it's my time, off Eddie Rodriguez, that's who he is. He's got that pettiness, but I mean, I expect a lot out of Correa. The one thing is, I want him to settle first. I think 2023, he's going to be like through the roof, maybe even MVP type season. He's that type of player. I just don't think that, as we're going to say this a lot, but moving teams is harder than you think. Not many guys move teams and then just play better. I mean, it's rare. We saw, number one example, Francisco Lindor. I mean, he's going to keep getting better. It's just moving to New York's not easy. But for my stats for Correa, I
can stop you real quick because we have Giacomo just going off in the comments.
Yeah, I see that. Oh,
wow! What do we think about this, Will? The best Red Sox player, in my opinion, one of the best hitters in baseball. I mean, wow!
Best hitter, one of the best hitters in baseball, one of the best third basemen in baseball, best Red Sox by far. I mean, best Red Sox since Mookie Betts. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I don't know. The little dude named Chaim Bloom, which I've seen reports that going into the winter meetings, which is right now until December 7th, all the owners get together, they talk. I've seen some things about Devers getting traded. Let me tell you something. If Devers gets traded, that's when every single siren will be going off in Boston. That's when it's full tank time, okay? That's when you basically sell the team and give up. Because Devers is the only thing keeping us together right now. We should extend him and not pay Bogarts. That's my opinion. But I'm going to say he doesn't get traded, mainly because I don't want him to get traded.
Yeah, I mean, and then Jock said he would perfectly fit on the Mets. I mean,
oh God.
what would you think about a little Brett Beatty, Ronnie Mauricio trade?
No, I was actually thinking about. Who's your Francisco Alvarez?
Alvarez, yes, the best.
I was thinking about mid-season when the Red Sox had like 20 wins, like with like 5 games left in the season. I mean, not actually, but
yeah, that's what it feels like.
I was thinking Alvarez and Beatty, a trade wouldn't be horrible, but after I took some rethinking, I decided it would be. I mean, you can't find a player like Devers really. Beatty's nowhere near the level of Devers. No hate. I mean, Beatty's just,
I mean, I feel like Beatty's ceiling is Devers. You don't think so?
No.
I mean,
dude, you can't be as good as Devers. I mean, that's hard to do.
But especially like a lefty and a guy who's been hitting that good. He hit amazing in Double-A, and then he didn't even play Triple-A, but he was the best player in Double-A.
Oh yeah, let me think. Third base ceilings. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard
to tell from such like a young player. But we're just gonna move on. And you talked about before like how hard it is for people to like change teams and like, of course, in football, all you do is move. All right, you just go to a franchise. You get a new playbook, but it's not that different for baseball. I mean, it's a baseball stadium. That is probably the biggest difference. Anything else you have like to add for these players that are just so pressuring to changing teams?
Yeah, I mean, fans. The fans are you hear it everywhere. I mean, they're rough. They're gonna be rough on you. I mean, you get booed. You're getting booed if you strike out sometimes. Like that's big. I mean, the fans and then just kind of the money. Like it's weird to say, but those guys get paid big. That contract comes with a big expectation, and it's very, very difficult to fill the expectation coming off the bat. I think that's really the expectation is what really kills a lot of these guys. Right away they expect so much. I mean, we saw it with Bryce Harper. Mm-hmm. I mean the famous video of the guy screaming out how much the Phillies lost out, and then he like turns around and says something, and then later on it's a home run. I feel like that's a start of, Bryce Harper and coming back. But the Philly fans hated him. That was crazy. They hated him. They were like, oh, we overpaid for this guy. He's a bum. And now, I mean, now look what now they love him. But that's the thing. Like these teams, they're not forgiving. And if you don't pay how much, if you don't play to how much they pay you, they're gonna let you know.
Yeah, and you talk about a guy like Correa who's played in the AL his whole career. You change to the NL with the Dodgers, it's a fully different thing, especially with these pitchers you've never seen. 90% of the players stay with their teams, for the start of their career, probably until they're 30. So you're changing all these relief pitchers, all these starting pitchers that you've really never seen. You have to game plan a lot more differently if you were in that league or in that division. And for me personally, with Carlos Correa, I think he also has a great season. I don't think he, has the potential to go MVP just because there's so many good players in the NL that I just don't think he is that explosive enough to do it. So I have him at 294 average, 379 on base, a 490 slugging, and a WOBA at 372. I just think that like his second half last season was just so amazing, and in the second half also, his barrel to plate appearance was the best he had in the last 3 years. He was hitting the ball in the second half, the best he has since 2019, where he really barely played, so you can't really tell it off those stats. It was his best season in a while, so hopefully he keeps that up. And the next guy we're going to go on to, Will's a hater of him. He's very close to my heart because I'm a Mets fan, but Brandon Nimmo, for me, the top suitors, it's only us. It's only the Mets and the Colorado Rockies.
I think you're missing out on a team there. I think the Yankees are going to sign him.
You think the Yankees are going to sign him?
And I mean, this entire prediction I have is based off of the Yankees. Can I actually go first?
Yeah, no. He has a lot of Nimmo.
Let me get into my prediction because there's a lot of reasoning behind this. So I don't have the stats off from last year off the top of my head. If you want to pull them up or something, but
yeah, just give me a second. I'll pull them up.
All right, I'll go while you look that up. Average 258. On base percentage 350. Slugging 370.
It's up, Chadwick.
Whoa, sorry about that. 437 slugging, and that's going to be a final OPS of 787. You're going to say this is crazy. And I'm gonna say, this is why the Yankees they're gonna ruin Nimmo. I mean, they're gonna kill him. I remember a video in the back of my head. The guy Jake Botch, whatever his name is, the Italian guy who's a Yankee fan. You know that guy who screams everybody, Jack, on TikTok?
Oh yes, Bobby Burgers. No, sorry.
Yeah,
that's the name of it. Yeah.
All right, basically that.
That's but Danny Burgers, yeah, same thing.
I remember Nimmo walked and he was like run down the line, like, "What are you doing?" Like he was like yelling at him. Like the Yankee fans are gonna just tear him apart for that, even if he's on their team. So it's weird, but his play approach is gonna like weirdly like shift. That's one reason. Okay.
Yeah.
The second reason is I feel like he's a mini Jacoby Ellsbury. I feel like I see a lot of Jacoby Ellsbury in him. A great center fielder, whose on base percentage is, his main attribute in a way, I guess, really the walks. I mean, he walks a ton. That's his game. That's his play style. I expected, basically I went and looked up Jacoby Ellsbury when he flipped from Red Sox to Yankees. And I mean, he took a hit on his on base percentage. It dropped. I mean, and I think this guy is kind of the same thing. The Yankees, he's not a Yankee player, but if they sign him, they're going to ruin him. They're not gonna like a guy who walks. They're not gonna want it. They want a guy who's hitting you 30 home runs, and when he doesn't do that, they're gonna kill him. I think I brought the slugging slightly up because left-handed hitter, Yankee Stadium right field. Yeah. He also might, with that, might start selling out for power. But basically, last thing is his K rate, which is incredible, is still going to be incredible. But I think his walk rate's going to drop like slightly from. Is it on there? Yeah,
10%. So that's what I was going to talk about. Is you look at this and you see 69 games, 55. Of course, that was a shortened season.
Yeah,
92 and 162 season. Of course, his walk rate is going to be high. His first season above 100 games back, it's at 10. That's very concerning. I mean, of course, people always talk about how much he walks, but his first real season, he doesn't really walk as much. He was in the 78th percentile, which is also very good.
Yeah,
He
it's
was,
high.
he was in the 90th percentile of walk rate his whole career.
Yeah, I also think, trying to get the bag, a lot of these players do it. I think he might have sold out a little bit. We see the power numbers kind of went up. I mean, homers, 16. I get it. A lot of short seasons, but that's a big jump from what he's had in the past, except for 2018. But I don't know. I think the walks is kind of concerning, really, for Nimmo, and that's where he's going to take the decline. I think if there's a guy who's going to get totally ripped by the Yankees, it's going to be Nimmo.
Mm-hmm. And you want to respond to Guac here? This is
Yeah, I know. I was just reading that. I don't know. Let me go look up Nimmo Yankees.
Yeah, any reports on that? I mean, crazy day today. The reason everything's happening right now, if you're wondering, is the winter meetings. It's where all the owners and teams come. It's for a week. They're all in the same city, and they're meeting with players. They're talking about new rules, MLB draft. It all just really happens this week.
Yeah.
I personally think almost every player that we're talking about is going to go except Rodon. Rodon has no reports. He is silent, so I think he's going to be more towards the end of the offseason.
Yeah, that's gonna be a hard one. But real quick about Nimmo, the Mets are pursuing Andrew Benintendi.
Yes,
they're going to lose an outfielder. That's why the Yankees need him. Mm-hmm. They're going to lose an outfielder. They're going to lose two outfielders. And then who else do you have? Their outfield's going to be Aaron Hicks, Harrison Bader, and then I guess Cabrera, the rookie. So they're going to need a guy, and they were looking at Nimmo. They were one of the suitors. So maybe Jock, you stop yelling at me from the comments. but yeah, I think he's on the Yankees, and I think he's going to get completely ruined by the Yankees.
I do have to disagree. I think he's going to the other side of New York. I think he's going to Queens. He's going back.
He's going to Queens. He's staying in Queens.
Yeah, staying in Queens. 5 years, 120, $24 million a year because it's Cohen. I can't really project what he's going to do with the money because he just throws money.
It's just Cohen. Cohen. He expect the unexpected with Cohen.
Yeah, and for my stats, I have him at a 269 average, so 5 less than last season, a 374 on base, a little higher than last season, 421 slugging, which is less than last season, and then WOBA at a 358. So
that's high.
A high WOBA?
I put him at 340. Well, that's really just because I don't see a lot of the extra base hits coming. I mean, that's where I lost him. That's really it.
Yeah, so we'll move on to Will's probably most hated player in MLB for no reason. First of all, let's just pull.
Whoa!
This guy, no. This guy has been loyal to the Red Sox since 2013.
Players in
2013, he has been on your team. He has won 2 World Series. He played a very big role in 2013. Played a very big role in 2018. He had some clutch hits in 2013.
Yeah, remember. Yeah. 2013 was like what? Like that was a long time ago.
Okay, but I'm saying this guy is very loyal to your team. And for you just to want him off so bad and just to not even be sad about it. Let's see.
You gotta let me talk.
Okay, fine.
I'm a Bogaerts fan. Go to Twitter right now. Go to Red Sox. Just look up Red Sox on Twitter, and you'll see that no one besides me wants Bogaerts to leave. Lots of bad things being said about our general manager because he's unable to do his job. I mean, if Bogaerts walks, this is the biggest fail ever in Red Sox history. No, and I'm gonna. You know what? I know a lot about this because I have nonstop made an argument about why he should not come back, and just so much time looking at this. And this is why he's aging. Okay, the hard hit numbers. It's been terrible. I mean, this guy batted 308, and there's a little picture. I'll find it at a different time. I'll bring it up. But it's his spray chart. Like 75% of his hits were in the infield. I mean, for a guy to get paid $26 million to just, slap the ball around the field, no, I would not pay him that. his barrel rate is 37th in the league. It was his fourth best barrel rate in his career. Hard hit percentage, 47% in the league. Third, what was it? Third worst. And then average exit velo, 35th in the league. That's like the lower third percentile in the league. It's the second worst of his entire career. Only time worst was in 2014, coming off, his second season. And, he's had the highest strikeout rate in his entire career this year. And, his walk rate was, it was all right. But, I mean, I don't like this. I don't like this, this whole Bogaerts. I mean, he also, this is just me watching. He went on a stretch at the end of the year. We basically won like 14 for like 20. So a little bolstered, little stats being, higher. But this guy is being, you'll see when I get to Benintendi, he's getting saved by the Green Monster. I mean, 60% of his doubles are at home, which, that's a stat you could say. But if you really want to look deep into it, like, I've wasted my time doing, there's like a lot of his hits. There's where I think it was 8 of his doubles were routine flyouts in every other stadium.
Yeah, Chadwick. You can pull the spray chart, Chadwick. There you go. There's a spray chart.
Zoom in a little bit. Zoom in on that infield.
I can't fully zoom in because
all right, you see it. But you see that, and then to the left also the purple is the doubles. All those are really not doubles. Like you see a lot of the things. He hits 310-foot doubles.
Yeah. Well, she's talking about the Green Monster.
Oh, I'm talking about the Green Monster. I mean, it's massive, and he just plays wall ball with it. There's like him hitting curveballs off his like front leg for doubles. I mean, this guy has been completely aided by Fenway Park. So why not bring him back? Because it's not worthy to spend $28 million on a shortstop who may not even be a top 10 shortstop this coming year. And call me crazy, in 2 years. In 3 years, this guy's going to be washed. He's not reinstating his career. He's been in the league for so long. I mean, he's already becoming injury prone to this point. He's been playing through a ton of injuries. I don't see a lot. So, before I get too off track, just realize Bogaerts is going to be overpaid no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have for stats?
Oh, you told me not to do the stats because you wanted to take the reins. Yeah.
My fault. I told him I would take
it.
Okay.
It's all good.
Batting average, I'm at 286. I mean, he's still average hitter. Okay, not average as in not good, but he still hits for average. I also expect a slow start wherever he moves. I mean, really, Fenway Park has helped him a lot in his career. I think the slugging. All right, we'll get to that. We'll get that comment. The slugging, 419. I dropped it by like 40, 50 points. He's a double machine usually. I don't see him hitting close to 40 doubles this season. Maybe 30. But 30 is even a reach. I think he might hit like 25. And then on base percentage, 360. He's also an on base percentage guy. But Guac, I like what you're saying. He's a top 5, top 7 shortstop easily, but it's really truly, if he leaves Boston, he's not going to be a top 7 shortstop. I bet you there's a lot more comments of him tearing my head off because that's what everybody else has done. Everybody else, he's what I call a basic stat merchant. I mean, can we find a more basic stat guy ever? I mean, his expected batting average, which is the StatCast version of batting average, was 265. He hit 308. That was he had the worst batting average and expected batting average like gap in the entire league. Also on top of that, one last thing to say, he was super unclutch. I mean, he's I think he was like 109th in win probability added. What's the point of having a guy if he's not gonna help your team win? I mean, is it not about winning anymore? Like 109 win probability added. That's up there with like bums. He had 70 RBIs. I mean, the power's gone. You guys, no one's complaining about JD Martinez leaving. I mean, but he completely lost his power too. Like I don't like, sure you could say dead ball. I don't think it's that. It was a massive drop off from Bogarts, and I expect more of it wherever he goes.
Yeah, and
Maybe the eighth best shortstop.
I can back you up here on this Bogarts. You look at his splits, which is, home game, away game, day game, night game. It drops .20 in average between the home and the night. I mean, home and the away. And the slugging drops a whole .100. His
Yeah.
slugging at home games is 500. His slugging away is 400. I mean, that is crazy. That's also a big point to Will that it's really all Fenway. So I think we can get into Jock's comments here. Wow, Will, that's all. Jeff McNeil 2.0. What do you think about that?
Are you gonna? I have one question. Would you pay Jeff McNeil $27 million a year?
No, I would not. I wouldn't pay him $20 million a year.
That's why I don't like Bogarts. You can call him Jeff McNeil 2.0 all you want. Yes, he hits for average. Yes, he's got a great glove. But someone's gonna go and pay him $27 million a year, and it's outrageous. That's I don't think Xander Bogarts is terrible. But if he was asking for $20 million a year, I would love him. I would want to come back. The fact that he thinks that he has the ability to ask for $27 million a year is wild. No, you're not Trey Turner. You're not Swanson. You're not Correa. Stop thinking you're on the same tier as them. Simple. I'm sorry. A lot of this hate has come from me having to sit through watching Red Sox games this year. So that's also some added hate, but that's what I'm saying.
You talk about his clutch. You hate his clutch factor, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, when he gets deep in the game past the seventh inning, we don't have the fully stats to pull up, but he watches every game. It's not the greatest. So we're going to move on to the last guy, and that is Andrew Benintendi. Not the biggest name. Was a Red Sox. Went to the Royals. Played horrible at the Royals. Then at the deadline, got moved to the Yankees, and he just kind of blew up in the games he played. What's that? What's the face?
I mean, he played pretty well this season with the Royals. I think it was kind of the opposite way around.
Well, his first season with the Royals, which is also
horrible. It was miserable.
That's what we've been talking about this whole episode, is that these people get these deals, and it's hard.
Oh yeah, we're seeing that. I think the one way to avoid, getting a deal and like coming back, going to this like somewhere you never been. I mean, you can talk about your suitors first, but I got some up my sleeve.
Something up your sleeve.
Just go on. What's your suitors?
I have the Astros, the Yankees, the Red Sox, and my Mets.
Yeah, I think it's perfect. I got the same thing. Astros, for some reason, are going after them. They're turning to the Mets somehow. I don't even know where they get this money from. I guess they did lose, JV and all that money, but
they got Mattress Mac.
What?
They have Mattress Mac.
Oh yeah, Mattress Mac, yes sir. No, I got him going to the Red Sox, and this is one reason. He is the same thing as Xander Bogaerts. Honestly, he's like a better hitter than Bogaerts, and we're gonna pay him 15. He's a better hitter. He's an amazing fielder, and we're gonna pay him $15 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
Do we not see like why I hate Bogaerts? Let me just get some out of the way. His barrel percentage and hard hit percentage dropped 30. Well, barrel percentage dropped 30%, and a hard hit percentage dropped 23. He became a lot more of an average guy this year. Not average, but hitting for average. Try to create walks. So he, statistically, he tried to simplify his approach. Try to figure it out more. But I mean, if you want to go into your numbers for predictions, I have a few fancy ones.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep it standard. Unless we don't get Nimmo, which then I think Cohen will do what he does and then get Benintendi. I think normally he's gonna go back to the Yankees. Like we haven't said all day. We haven't said one of these guys go back to their teams. I have him at 3 years, $39 million, which is the AAV of $13 million.
Yeah. Well, everybody's saying like 3 years. I don't know why you pay Benintendi for 3 years. I mean, you got to give the guy some faith. I have him. I wrote down over here. I have him 6 years overall, $78 million. So that's 6 years. I think 13. Yeah, 13 a year. I mean, I got a lot of faith in this guy. I watched him play with the Red Sox. I mean, I watched him win a World Series for us. I mean, that game-saving catch in the ALCS against the Astros. I mean, this guy really is legit. I mean, it's crazy we traded him away. We turned out to be a horrible trade. I mean, we got Franchi Cordero and Josh Winkowski. mean, those guys both this year, Winkowski had like a 5 ERA as a starter, and Frazier Cordero he was blackballed off the team because he's so bad. I mean, it's a not a good trade, but I really want him back.
You do.
I do. What are your stats for him?
My stats for him, I think he takes slightly a jump. I think he gets his average up to 311. His on base is 384. Slugs, like he always does, low, 402. And then the WOBA is at 343. Wait.
You would never believe what I put. So he goes to the Red Sox. Let me just tell you one stat. If Xander Bogaerts, was helped by Fenway Park, like then he was like carried by Fenway Park, Benintendi. In his overall career, he's basically hit a double in every 4 games. In his career with the Red Sox, while playing home, he's hit a double every 3 games. It sounds weird, but that's a big margin. I mean, he's hit 77 doubles in 229 games at Fenway. I mean, and the gap between home and away is it's a big deal. I think, he's going to stay, simplified. I'm going to go 295 average, 360 on base percentage, but this is crazy. But, we got to have some craziness. 452 slugging. And that's not going to come from homers. That's going to come from doubles. I mean, he had the lowest amount of doubles in his entire career this year. I think he's just going to, play some wall ball at Fenway. I think he's going to hit up to 30. He's a great player. He still does hit the ball pretty hard. I mean, I think he's going to find himself back at home in Fenway. I mean, they loved him. We all loved him. Every Red Sox fan loved him. But that's where I see him. I'm going to give him a 355 WOBA. I mean, I think this guy comes back and reinstates his career. I mean, his average, has slowly declined ever since 2018, 2019. So that's why I have it a little bit lower. But I think this guy's going to hit for some power. I think he's going to, get the pop back, and I think he's going to be a really good signing if we go out and get him.
Yeah, and I want to back up my Benintendi. Yeah, I just want to say, if he goes to the Yankees, do you see where his homers are?
Yeah. Well, he's a lefty. He's got that pull.
Yeah, and that's going to help out a lot in Yankee Field. I think he can maybe get the slugging up. I mean, can we talk about that triple? Where was that? Oh, here we go.
Oh, hey.
Look at this.
Oh, that's off my boy. That's off my boy Joe Ryan.
Yeah, off Joe Ryan. I mean, that's out at Yankee.
Oh my God, Max Kepler, get him off the field.
That's way out at Fang.
Wait. Go to Xander Bogaerts. Go to Xander Bogaerts.
You want to go back to Xander?
This is gonna be fun. We can't waste too much time, but click one of the doubles that are like on the wall.
Mm-hmm. Just give me a second here.
No. Click a single. Because then it's for sure off the wall. Click the orange one. Yeah. Maybe. Please be at home. Perfect. Let's take a little look at why I don't like him.
Sound.
Okay, that's not a good one.
Okay, sorry.
Whoa,
Like
you're making it look bad.
Which one?
Just take one of the doubles.
A double. That's a homer.
That one. Please. Oh, this was it. Look at, he chips this. Look at this. That's gotta be routine. It's gotta be routine anywhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, take 10 steps back. That's caught.
Yeah,
that's a double.
We could probably look at another one. Is this the same one I just pulled up? No, it's not. Okay.
Oh, this is a good one for sure. I mean, off his front leg.
Yeah, off outside.
That ball was
these are fly outs.
Crushed. Easy fly out anywhere.
Yeah, Chow, you can take down the screen now. I think that's it. You have anything else?
Let's go to the comments. Make sure we didn't miss anything. Oh, who's the top reliever on the free agent market?
Good talk. Good.
Yeah, you got an answer to this?
Well, of course you have guys like Kimbrel and Jansen who do it every year. But personally, I think, I'm just, I guess I'm speaking in Mets terms because I only look at the relievers that I want. I want Andrew Chafin. I think he's a very good lefty. Not the greatest season with the Tigers, but he throws the ball hard, like a downward hard fastball the guy has, and I think he would be very good. for the Mets rotation, which is lacking lefties. Who do you think is the best free agency on the market?
Real quick fun fact of the day. Andrew Chafin let up a home run to Andrew Benintendi on the Royals. I don't know why. I just saw I saw it on my thing. But I think I go.
No. Clap it up for Will's fun fact of the day. There we go.
Oh, come on. You gotta keep the love.
Yeah.
But I gotta go with Jansen. I mean, look, Jansen, he without looking at his stats, we can all say he took a step back this year, especially in the Braves. I mean, dude, that cutter was a meatball this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every time he threw it, I feel like 90% of the time he came to the game towards the end of the season, he just kind of blew it.
Yeah, actually one of his best seasons. He finally got out of Los Angeles, got all like that pressure from those fans who.
Yeah,
honestly,
and then he went over to Atlanta and just kind of stunk.
And he turned it up. He did turn it up.
Yeah, this is gonna be another. This is a take that a little weird. Guy's already off the market, but I think we're forgetting a little bit about Nick Anderson.
Okay, never mind. You're right. Nick Anderson is a very good reliever.
Nick Anderson.
I thought you said Chris Martin.
No, Chris Martin. Chris Martin, the PE teacher, is coming to the Red Sox and throwing no hitters. He's a goat. But yeah, no, Nick Anderson's a stud. I mean, he used to be like a top. We were talking about top closer in the league a couple of years back. Tommy John, and now he's back. He's fully healthy. He's ready to go. I think the Braves got a really good steal with this.
Mm-hmm. And any more Guac comments? Since he's
it's got to be some. He was losing it.
Is Will's take for Bogaerts a top one worst take of all time?
Ever? I mean, Guac. I really hate to break it to you, but I mean, we could all agree that you've never made a decent take in your life. I mean, this isn't nothing against you, but I mean, Arkansas over Creighton wasn't good. I guess Arkansas's playing better now. Just go to the TikTok if you want to know for sure. I mean, that's just filled with Matt Friedman bullying this kid. But yeah, I mean, no, I don't think it's the worst take. I think I explained why it's a good take. We even had a video to back it up. Yeah. But yeah.
What about David Robertson? Great season from the Phillies.
Well, he was a Cub to start off though, right?
Oh yeah, Cub. Sorry, yeah.
All right. I'm just fact checking you, making sure you know what's going on. I like him. I do like him. I'm not a huge fan of him. I think what is he? Is he like 200 yet? How old's that dude?
He's 38.
Yeah. I mean, this guy. I mean, 38. Jeez. I mean, I think he's good, but I think his Cubs. There wasn't enough. I don't know. I'm not sold on David Robertson yet. I'd rather Will Smith, honestly.
All right. So before we end it, we're just gonna plug everything because
plug everything. Let's go.
I do love our producer, Benjamin Chadwick. Thank you.
Ben Chadwick.
You're amazing. Thank you, Ben
Chadwick. We
gotta
boost his salary from 0
not
to
the
0.
greatest at advertising other shows.
No.
I love my boys. I love Guac. I love Freed. I love Walter. So we're gonna shout out NBA Pod every Tuesday, 8:30. We got the NFL show every Wednesday, 5:30. I think we have the college show.
Every
Thursday,
that college
8 or 8:30. This is the World Cup show's Friday, 5:30 every Friday. That's I don't know if that's gonna stay with the soccer, and maybe they go to like the Premier League or something, or the Champions League.
Who knows? I mean, you don't even know. And
we're gonna stop it right here. Wait, who's your World Cup prediction?
Is America still in it?
No, we're gone.
I think Argentina, because someone said that they're good, and I think they got Ronaldo.
No, jeez. All right. Well, he has no World Cup knowledge.
Portugal and Ronaldo. Hey,
that was bad. That was bad.
It wasn't as bad as any of Guac's takes.
Yeah, the World Cup show is, I think, every Friday, 5:30. We have this show 5:30 every Monday, and then SJ.
This show's a new best show. Like, we all agree. Like, I feel like we dissected like the best parts of the NFL show, dropped it in, added some. I mean, like, this is a stat based show. I mean, I'm just telling you, like, this was the start. This is the start of something, something small.
Definitely some flaws, but it was our first.
There's some flaws, all right.
It was our first inaugural No, I can't say that word today.
Inaugural. I don't even know
How do you say
it.
it?
I'm not saying it. I don't know how to say it. But basically, let me just break some down. Just tune in. That's all I'm saying.
Tune in.
Once in a while, you're not ready for what's coming. Okay. You
SJ
haven't
Sports.
gotten.
Wait, what's the TikTok called?
He'll pull it up eventually. Our
SJ Sports
producer.
Show. Yeah,
There
it
you
is.
go.
It is ran by the great
The
Matthew
great
Friedman,
Matt Friedman.
who gets a lot of migraines. Let's not doubt that. So we don't want him to keep doing these. We need some help. So if we can get a professional editor, I will personally pay you nothing because money does not exist. I never said that. And now we're gonna end it. You have anything else?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Tune in
our
Wednesday.
first inaugural. I think I said it right.
Wrap it up. I mean, that was good. I'm getting hate right now from Glock. Tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, how do I not know what I'm talking about? Everything here is based off of stats. I mean, like, come on. Let me just say, this is the start of something great. Just come next week.
Yeah, I mean, this is Will Kukowski right here. What a legend this guy is. He's going to be fighting out for trying to get a starting job in varsity this year for baseball. I'm iffy. We'll see. We'll see if I'm playing.
We'll see. I mean,
maybe I'm broadcasting every game with Benjamin Chadwick, who I love. Thank you, Chadwick, again.
I mean, just around
he goes out of his way to do this. I'm Jack Hemler, the host.
He's a legend. He's a host.
That's it for Joe's Knows Baseball. Chadwick, you may end it.